Are you prepared if there's a medical emergency while you're traveling? That's what I'm thinking about. So as we kick off the summer season here and there's lots of travel plans for many of us, I came across an article that talked about things to do to prepare for a medical emergency if you're traveling, and especially if you're traveling overseas. I thought it was really interesting and wanted to share a few points. We'll put a link in the show notes here so you can read the whole article, useful to take a look at. A number of the things they had to say were pretty common, things that we all know. Make copies of your insurance cards and credit cards in front and back in case you lose your wallet, and have your contacts in your phone, those sort of things. Your emergency contacts, so anybody can open and see who your contacts are even when the phone's locked. But this author is actually a financial advisor, and his extended family was in Mexico, and his mother-in-law had a stroke while they were there. And he had a few interesting things that I hadn't considered, and I think we need to start talking about. I wanted to share 3 points with you that I took from the article that I thought were really interesting. One is the idea that you can get a letter of coverage from your health insurance provider that will tell you and people in a different country what is covered and what isn't, what they cover while you're traveling, in several different languages apparently. I'd not heard of this before, and this seems like a great thing to have in your luggage as you travel, again, especially overseas, so that you know exactly what's on, they'll be able to cover, and what you're responsible for, and it'll help the medical professionals in a different country be able to help you more quickly. So I thought that was a really good idea. The other one that he talked about is that when his mother-in-law had to go into the hospital in Mexico, that they had to put down a reserve on $8,000 to pay for expenses. I never really considered, how these things happen in different countries, and his recommendation for this was to buy the trip insurance when you take trips, and again, especially overseas with things. If you're like me, I'm one of those that always checks the no button on do you want trip insurance, because I tend to think about, well, trip cancellation and what if I can't fly out or I get sick or these sort of things happen. I'd never really considered that medical coverage component of it while you're overseas. So that's one of the things that me personally, as we talk with clients, we're going to really start looking at. If you've got a trip planned coming up here, and if it happens to take you out of the country especially, take a look at that trip insurance, what it covers from a medical standpoint. That might be worth considering. Again, one of those that I just have always been on the negative side on, and I think we need to take a look at that again. Then the other one I thought was really interesting, was he said to make sure you notify your financial advisors. Let us know when you're taking a trip, and especially if it's going to someplace different or out of the country. And what his comment was, getting his mother-in-law back home was not just buy a regular ticket on a plane. It took some special planning, and by having his financial advisors know that where they were, it really expedited the process. So it's one of those things, hey, if you're stuck in a position you need some money and it comes from your portfolio, if we know that you're in Patagonia and we get a message saying, hey, I'm in Patagonia and we've had a medical emergency, need some money, we're sort of kicking into action. We know that we need to voice verify and all those other things, but we don't click the delete button and go, oh man, we got some spam from these folks, Let us know when you do traveling. I thought it was a really smart thing to do. We haven't been proactive on that before, but we're going to start doing that after considering this. So those are the things that I'm thinking about as we head into the travel season. As always, interested to know what you're thinking about. Jot some comments if you're watching this on YouTube down in the comment box below, or shoot me an email directly. And as always, thanks for watching.